This podcast contains some explicit language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Embracing the Journey podcast. I'm your host, Norris Frederick. Today, I don't know how to intro this man. Not only is he a relationship coach, not only is he a published poet, but my man is a communication artist. I want to introduce everybody to Andrew. What's going on, my man?
Norris, I'm so happy to be here. I can't even contain it, man. I'm about to bust at the seams. Dude.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
Yeah,
it is your day.
It's such an honor to be here, man.
I appreciate it.
I love that the way that we got connected was just randomly in the streets of Seattle after a poetry reading, and then to come here to see your passion in person, dude, is it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
I will say this. There's something about your energy. No, it's like soothing, right? There's like this light, this aura around you of like positivity. Talk to me about that.
Oh man, the world's a funny place, man. Right? You get brought up with the best intentions. Mm-hmm. You know, everyone around you is doing their best, even to this day. But when you're a child, you don't really have the option or the choices or the opportunity to make changes with your social circle, so to speak. And I think a lot of us can relate to the best intentions from parents and peer groups ending up being a stifling and muting effect on our true, authentic expression of ourselves. The easiest thing to think about is just the masculinity roles as they're set in society. Men are to be this way. Boys don't cry. You roughhouse, you don't touch each other. And girls are meant to brush hair and be pretty and submit in a lot of ways. And so I've always been different, man. They medicated me as a kid because I had ADD. Well, the more you do research into that as an adult, you find out that I was just a creative and I didn't fit in the box. And they don't want you to break the system. And growing up in rural Montana, men are men, and you chew tobacco and you farm and you ranch. And I'm really blessed to have grown up in an agricultural community like that, living on a ranch, running cattle, driving dirt bikes every day, shooting guns all the time. That saved my life from the social encounters that I was having every single day.
Talk to me about that. What does that mean?
Oh, man. My first day of kindergarten, I got called a as my basketball was kicked across the playground by another kindergartner.
White, black?
White kid.
Okay.
I was the only color I saw growing up, man.
Wow.
There were natives on the reservations, but we lived in the middle of Montana, a town of 300 people. There were 7 other kids in my class. Seven. And I was a transplant with my single mom, didn't know my dad, and my family loved me. Like I was talking about, everyone tried to do their best. Mm-hmm. But when you come home and you've experienced racism, and you're trying to express that to a white family member, it's a little difficult. So you withdraw and you turn inward. You get real comfortable being alone.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate all of that, being comfortable with who I am and the value that I create just simply by being myself was something I was not allowed to do throughout my developmental years and into early adulthood as well. So I appreciate the acknowledgement and the recognition of what I do, of how I show up, because it was a lot of pain and heartache. And as I got older and I moved into some different therapeutic models and methodologies, a ton of fear. Every journey I've been on, it always starts out with absolute horror. And I have to learn to sit with that and be with it and love it. You got to feel it to heal it. And it's been about 3-4 years since I started that journey, that specific journey. And man, every single day I just feel layers coming off of me. The old programming is changing. I'm sober 83 days now, because I want to be engaged in life. Like the most divine thing that I can do is to be present and be human and not dissociate from what is going on around me.
So you said it just happened over the past 4 years that you've begun your healing process, or? that things have started to shift a tiny bit.
Right. So massive shift, really. Since just January of this year, I made a decision to leave a narcissistically abusive relationship with a woman that I was madly in love with. I thought she was it. And it took a lot of engagement with some professionals and pastors and just men's groups, those kinds of things, of other people loving on me and telling me like, hey man, what's going on in that relationship isn't good for you. You don't have to stay for that. No one should be going through those things.
We've had a few people on the show so far, women that have talked about narcissism and narcissistic behaviors. We have yet to hear from a male. Was your relationship only based on a narcissism or narcissistic abuse, or was there physical abuse, mental abuse?
There was all of it, man. All of it.
Walk me through that. Walk me through that, because for those who can see on camera, Andrew's not a small guy, right? And I'm sure you can protect yourself and defend yourself.
Absolutely.
Walk me through what a physical, abusive relationship looks like from the male perspective.
Even to this day, there's still programming going on that I allowed myself to absorb in that relationship where I'm the problem and where nothing I could do was right, no matter how much I tried to show love. Even when I ended the relationship and walked away and cut off contact, I cracked the door and just got bulldozed. And it was the worst thing I could have done, because once I had done that and I decided to come back and try and work on things, the campaign that was levied against me intensified 100-fold, because that person felt like they had me in the palm of their hand. That was when I started being hit. That was when, this person also kept a lot of other options in their back pocket, at least 10 other guys at all times that are trying to nibble at the bait, so to speak. And that was used against me. And I ended the relationship because I had been cheated on. I offered this person an open relationship on a number of occasions because they were going through some things in their own life. And I had experienced some of the similar things, going through a divorce and needing to kind of go out and explore. And so I shared that, like, hey, this is what was up for me. This is kind of what I needed to do to shake off some of the cobwebs and the dust, so to speak. If you're feeling like you need to do that, let's have an honest conversation. We can open things up. And I just want to know that I'm still like your choice, and I want you to know that you're mine. And I was told very plainly on several occasions, no, I don't want an open relationship. I'm not that type of person. Like, okay, I just want to have that conversation, Well, ends up that she went on a vacation, slept with a couple other people over the course of like 6 days. And I'm pretty in tune with myself in a lot of ways. With her, I was really weak. I truly was, because I thought I was in love. And that's what love had looked like to me. That's what had been modeled. Is relationships are contentious. There's illicit behavior. There's abuse. There's lying. That was normal,
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Different.
Weird.
Quiet.
Mighty.
Unstoppable.
Incredible.
What makes you different makes you great.
Embrace your punch.
Welcome back to Embracing the Journey podcast. We're here with Andrew. So what does that look like, right? So you said that she had you in the palm of her hand, and in your mind, that looked like what a relationship was.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to ask you this question. Is that what you were familiar with, what a relationship was, or was that just how that looked to you?
It was a little of both. And it was, I should have prefaced everything that I have shared with everything that's happened to me in my life, I am responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
And that is based on the belief that I have a voice, and my voice creates my freedom and my reality. You spell words, right? You cast spells. Words are vibrations. So even in sharing out of fear, the offer of an open relationship, I was in fact manifesting that for myself. Whether she was participating in it openly or not, I was still manifesting that for myself in a lot of ways, right? And this doesn't always hold true. There's always some wiggle room and some theories and things like that. And anyone could openly dispute everything I say, right? But I really believe that just based on the childhood and the growth and the things that I experienced, that when I got into relationship, from my very first marriage up until the end of my second marriage and to the long-term relationships I had had, it was a constant evolution of a spiral of, you know, me not speaking my truth, me being too available to somebody, me being so afraid again of like, not necessarily being alone, but being unpartnered, that I was willing, and my therapist calls it self-deletion and preservation of relationship, that I was willing to cut off my arm for the benefit of the other person so that we could still be together. And like I shared earlier, I'm fine being by myself. I have a really, really deep desire, and David Deida talks about this in some of his books, but I have a really deep desire to be in partnership, in relationship. I think it's a beautiful place to explore, and there is work that you can do with a healthy partner that you cannot do alone. And that's what I like exploring. I really love exploring that. But I had a history of being in an unhealthy relationship. And instead of saying, you know what, this doesn't work for me, my shadow would act out because I would be repressing authentic pieces of myself, and I would end up being unfaithful. I would end up being a liar. And in this most
was that
recent,
a defense mechanism, you think?
Oh man, I was cowardice for sure. I was more afraid of having an honest conversation than I was of getting caught cheating. And that's not healthy. That's
Right.
never a good place to be in. And truly, as an awakened man, that should never be an option for me. Unless you're practicing polyamory or ethical non-monogamy.
Not to be all in your business, but we're going to get in your business.
Get in my business, man.
Have you been in a relationship like that? Like an open one?
I have only engaged in that kind of activity above board when I'm single. I have been unfaithful in past relationships. I've made all the mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I've truly made all the mistakes.
One thing that I'm picking up about you is you have no issue taking on personal accountability. None. And I say that to say this. It is so refreshing for you not to blame someone else for the actions that you chose to take, whether you were under the influence of anything or just hurt, sad, depressed, whatever the situation may be. It seems like you take on that accountability. And man to man, me looking you dead in the face, I really respect that. And I appreciate the fact that you can come on this stage and talk about these things from a clear mind, a clear heart, and just blunt truth. Cheating and being in these abusive relationships, if I weren't the type of individual to be able to center myself, I would tell you that you have every excuse in the world to be jaded towards women.
Mm.
Why is that? Why are you not, after 2 divorces, after an abusive relationship, after you being able or you being willing to surrender yourself for a woman that hadn't been faithful to you, why are you still choosing to take the high road?
What else is there, man?
There's a ton of options.
No, not to me. No, it is a ruthless, absolutely ruthless commitment to my well-being. And that means truly I am a shadow hunter, and I am willing to go into the darkness, and I am the poetic warrior, the savage poet. I am a lover of people, man. I'm done being a victim. I'm done. And that starts with me.
Where's this strength coming from? Honestly, where is it coming from?
It's God, source, creator, whatever it is that really, like, what do you worship? At the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? What do you worship? And some people worship money. I'm guilty of it. Some people worship status, power, control, influence, whatever that may be, man. And you just look at our society. People worship sports. If you fill a stadium and we've got homeless people sleeping in the streets of Seattle, what is that? And then you want to come and talk to me about doing social good? Get out of here. And it's a tax break for somebody. I've been a wealth coach too, man, running a program of 40 clients at $40,000 a year, showing them how to build generational wealth and minimize their tax liability. Like, beautiful things. But I give almost everything I have to support a Ukrainian family.
Have you met that family?
No, but that is fulfilling. That's truth, man. Let my life be an example to other people that you can make a difference, a real one. But you got to be willing to look at yourself. And where does the strength come from? I don't know. I'm a channel. My third session of big medicine work, it was given to me a gift, and I know now why, but I truly experienced the wings coming out of my back and my divinity and the layers of my experiential being from in this body to the beam of light that is infinite, that it emanates out of my chest, to the angelic being that circles above me constantly, and the observation of all of that from the mountaintop, and then the awareness of being that observer.
Love it.
That's the truth of every single one of us walking this planet. And the most divine thing that I can do is truly be a human being. And that's why I've chosen to be sober. That's why I've chosen to lay this all out. That's why I hope that my life can be an example. And I don't get it right all the time. I don't get to see my kids like I would like to. People are surprised when they find out that I have kids. I love my babies, man. I absolutely love my children. But because of how much I hurt my daughter's mom specifically, even to this day, she still has a very difficult time engaging with me as a changed person. And I am afraid that she may never be able to see me for who I am today.
Next week on the Embracing the Journey podcast.
I am at the lowest position I have ever been in my life financially at the moment. I had to budget to make sure I had enough gas to come here. The other side of that coin is that I'm happier than I've ever been, and it has nothing to do with money.
How and why do you still have this like twinkle in your eye and this like light in your heart?